right, let's dive straight into this explainer and break down an absolutely unbelievable David versus Goliath clash at the 2026 World Cup. Going into this Group H matchup, you've got the heavyweights, the two-time World Cup champions, Uruguay, facing off against Cabo Verde. Now, the island nation, affectionately known as the Blue Sharks, had already stunned the football world by holding powerhouse Spain to a 0-0 draw. And honestly, a lot of people chalk that up to just pure luck. Well, what unfolded at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami proved everyone entirely wrong. We are talking jaw-dropping long-range screamers, just catastrophic goalkeeping howlers, and a historic result that literally flips the landscape of this tournament completely upside down.
Right out of the gate, history was being made before a single ball was even kicked. Get this, we had a World Cup first in the net. For Uruguay, you have the veteran Fernando Muslera starting at 40 years and 5 days old. And opposite him, guarding the goal for Cabo Verde, is Vozinha, stepping onto the pitch at 40 years and 18 days old. They officially became the very first pair of 40-year-old players to appear in the same FIFA World Cup match. It perfectly set the stage for a true battle of experience. But, as we're going to see, having decades of experience doesn't always guarantee a flawless 90 minutes.
Section 1. A shaky foundation. The controversy surrounding Marcelo Bielsa's Uruguay. To really understand this match, we have to look objectively at the off-pitch drama, because before the whistle even blew, the Uruguayan camp was carrying some incredibly heavy baggage. Reports of a toxic environment pointed to a potentially fractured foundation for the favorites. According to these reports, Luis Suarez, literally a generational talisman for Uruguay, removed himself from international duty specifically because of a divisive environment allegedly created by head coach Marcelo Bielsa. And when Suarez reportedly asked to come back for this tournament, Bielsa snubbed him. So you have a squad boasting massive talents like Fede Valverde and Darwin Núñez, right? But they are playing under this dark cloud of reported internal division. Keep that firmly in mind as we see how they react under pressure.
Section 2. The historic strike. Cabo Verde makes World Cup history. Let's jump to the 20th minute. Cabo Verde wins a foul near the edge of the box, and the crucial number here is 32. From exactly 32 meters out, Kevin Pina steps up. Now, inexplicably, Uruguay only sets up a two-man wall, just two players. Pina sees the gap, steps up, and unleashes an absolute rocket of a low drive. As match reports noted, that two-man wall basically parted like papier-mâché.
The ball just tore right through that gap, whistling straight into the bottom right corner past a fully diving Fernando Muslera. He had absolutely no chance. Just like that, Cabo Verde takes a stunning 1-0 lead. Miami erupted into pure pandemonium. For the Cabo Verde players and fans, this was a dream turning into reality right before their eyes. It wasn't just a goal, it was the realization of an entire nation's ultimate sporting dream against a global giant.
To really grasp the magnitude of this moment, think about this. Not only was it Cabo Verde's first ever World Cup goal, but they actually became the very first team on record, dating all the way back to 1966, to score their first ever World Cup goal from a direct free kick. And if that wasn't enough, at 32 meters out, Pina's incredible strike was officially the longest-range goal of the 2026 World Cup so far. Just an absolutely historic screamer.
Section 3. The Giant Awakens. Uruguay's rapid response before halftime.
But listen, the two-time champions were certainly not going to just roll over and accept defeat. The pure embarrassment of trailing to such a massive underdog sparked this desperate, furious offensive assault. Uruguay completely flipped the script in the dying minutes of the first half. In the 44th minute, under immense pressure from Bentancur, a Cabo Verde defender accidentally heads the ball against his own post. Goalkeeper Vozinha is stranded, and Maxi Araujo is right there to nod in the rebound. Tie game 1-1. Then, deep into first-half stoppage time, right at the 45+6 mark, Uruguay completes the turnaround. Araujo heads a ball across the face of the goal, and it's volleyed home to make it 2-1 going into the break.
Now you might be wondering who scored that go-ahead volley. It was Agustín Canobio. And the irony here is just off the charts. Canobio was a player that Bielsa had reportedly totally marginalized. In fact, part of the disrespect Suarez had accused Bielsa of was forcing Canobio to train with the under-20 sparring players instead of the first team, allegedly because the coach didn't like his attitude. Yet, against all odds, here is Canobio delivering the exact crucial goal that saved Uruguay's blushes right before halftime.
Section 4. The Howler. A catastrophic mistake changes everything. Going into the second half, Uruguay seemed perfectly comfortable sitting on that 2-1 lead. But then, the 61st minute brings a moment of just
pure, unadulterated disbelief. Let's break down this disaster step by step, because it is literally a textbook example of how fast things can unravel. First, Matias Oliveira plays a dreadful, misplaced square pass. It was just a casual sideways ball, zero pressure. Second, for some entirely inexplicable reason, goalkeeper Fernando Muslera races way out of his penalty box, leaving himself completely exposed. Third, Cabo Verde substitute Helio Varela pounces on the mistake, casually flicking the ball right over the stranded keeper's head, and finally, Varela just rolls it into a completely empty net. 2-2. With that finish, Helio Varela instantly cemented his name in the record books. Talk about an immediate impact off the bench. He had only been on the pitch for 2 minutes and 16 seconds. That makes it the fastest goal by an African substitute in a World Cup match since the absolute legend Roger Milla scored for Cameroon way back in 1994. Muslera was left literally holding his head in his hands, and the Uruguayan bench was in utter shock.
When you dig into the match stats, the story becomes so clear. Sure, on paper Uruguay had the heavy firepower. They racked up 17 shots with an expected goals or XG of 2.34, but their accuracy was terrible. Only 2 of those 17 shots were actually on target. Meanwhile, Cabo Verde had 12 attempts with an XG of just 0.86, but they put 4 of them on target. They were remarkably efficient, incredibly clinical when it mattered most, and they clearly showed absolutely zero fear going toe-to-toe with the 2-time world champions.
From there, the final 30 minutes were an absolute roller coaster of near misses and high anxiety. Uruguay threw every single thing they had forward, but it just wasn't happening. In the 69th minute, Araujo bundled the ball into the net, but the flag goes up, disallowed for offside. Valverde blazes a dangerous free kick over the bar, and Cannavio misses a golden one-on-one chance late in the game. But Cabo Verde wasn't just sitting back defending for their lives. They were incredibly dangerous on the counter. Laris Duarte drilled a massive chance straight at Muslera, and Varela was only denied a second, game-winning goal by an amazing last-ditch tackle from Bentancur.
As the dust finally settles on this wild 2-2 draw, we really have to talk about Uruguay's situation between the posts. This wasn't just a one-off mistake for the 40-year-old veteran. Muslera had already gifted an inexplicable rebound in their previous draw against Saudi Arabia. 2 consecutive matches with highly costly, unforced errors, that presents a massive problem for Bielsa's squad going forward. Going up against a team armed with enormous firepower like Spain with an erratic keeper is going to be a severe test for Uruguay.
Section 5. The Aftermath. Group H Final Standings.
So, what does this all mean for the tournament? Spain sits comfortably at the top of Group H with 4 points, and they're highly likely to advance. That leaves Cabo Verde and Uruguay totally deadlocked at 2 points apiece, with Saudi Arabia sitting at the bottom with 0 points. Because Uruguay dropped these crucial points, those internal divisions and defensive frailties we talked about are now under a glaring, unforgiving spotlight. But for Cabo Verde, they are right on the brink of making incredible history. It means the final match day is going to be absolutely critical. So I want to leave you with this thought. A nation that many people just expected to make up the numbers has completely disrupted Group H. With absolutely everything on the line, can Cabo Verde pull up the ultimate fairy tale, defeat Saudi Arabia, and actually qualify for the knockout stages? Are we literally watching the greatest underdog story in modern World Cup history unfold right before our eyes? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you next time as we continue to break down all the biggest moments of the tournament.